Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. As always, it is Nick here, back with your daily crypto news and analysis. And today we're going to be talking about two of my favorite assets. These are actually two of my top tier holds. In fact, Casper is actually my number one hold, and HBAR is my number two hold. And that's right, we are going to be talking about Casper Network and also Hedera, aka HBAR. So sit back, relax, and before we fully jump on into this video, I do just want to ask guys, could hit that like button. It does help the channel grow immensely, and of course, I always do greatly appreciate it. But with that in mind, let's just dive in. Let's talk about a few things. So I am going to be recording this a little bit ahead of time, but I do want to talk to you guys about some long-term growth on both of these assets, as well as, really kind of some massive news around them in terms of what has been getting built, and also why you should also be bullish on both of these still, no matter the overall market, insights. Because when we look at the market right now, yeah, sure, if you want to react, emotionally, that's totally fine. If you want to scream and panic and sell, hey, that's on you as well. Nobody's, telling you guys to hold these assets, for longer than whenever you want to buy them. I just see a massive vision behind both of these projects, and I do see crypto basically being a major frontier for not only technological advancements within finance, but also in terms of just data in general. Like we're seeing so much updates around just data, Web3 use cases in terms of social media and things like that. Like there's so much happening around this space, and I absolutely love it. So let's just dive in and let's talk about a few things. So one, we are going to go over Casper, and then we will go over HBAR real quick on CoinMarketCap, and really kind of just address these two side by side a little bit. So Casper is down significantly from some of my buy points. In fact, I was buying at around 9 to 10 cents. So we were down almost, 50%, if you will, from a lot of those, buy points. But also, I've been buying at around like roughly 7 to 8 cents, which we were down a little bit from there. And I've just been kind of buying here. Now, I don't feel bad at all about my buy points, even at 10 cents. Obviously, do I wish that I could go back and not buy at 10 cents and just wait until, the 5 cent range? Sure. But hey, I'm not going to sit here and say that I'm perfect. I also make some mistakes in terms of my buy points. Again, we could only trade against technical analysis so much, but I will definitely talk to you guys about why I don't feel bad at all for buying at about $10. And let's talk about why at around this range, it's not a bad time to, look into accumulating some Casper. Now, also on HBAR, HBAR is one that has been getting a ton of hate, and I'm sure that there's probably going to be a comment on this video saying, oh, HBAR is dead, it's done, it's a scam token, it's an only down token, because we hear that all the time about HBAR. But honestly, when we talk about this one, I think that this is probably one of the biggest, showstoppers that will most likely get, a lot of recognition going forward, because they have been building out some solid use cases. Both of these are actually enterprise-focused networks, by the way. Casper is very focused on the enterprise grade area. Same with HBAR, and HBAR has been killing it lately in terms of some partnerships and stuff like that. I do wish that there was a little bit more insights on some of their use cases and some of their GC members, but hey, it is what it is. Now, as you guys do see, this has been coming down to test some significant lows. The low that we just recently tested goes all the way back to roughly, 2021 of March. We are going to be talking about the price chart for HBAR and even Casper, and really kind of talk about my, price points on where I'm exiting both of these positions. Maybe fully, we'll see. I'm not going to do an in-depth exit plan, but I definitely will be including both of these on my website. I'm pretty sure I have my HBAR exit plan on the website, encashofficial.com, if you guys do want to go check that out. But I will be uploading the Casper one as well. So let's just dive in and let's talk about a few things. So first off, let's talk about Casper in terms of the ecosystemal growth. So this goes back to March. So in March, we've seen Casper grow its ecosystem greatly, going all the way back to March 3rd. We do see, Brooke Shields and WiseKey minted the first ever NFT in space through the Casper network, followed by quickly, 4 days later, Friendly Market announced to build another cool dApp, Casper Name Service. Then we did see Casper Pad got listed on Bitmart Exchange. Casper Network announced a new hackathon named Ready Player Casper. Oracle supported bridging a BNB from BSC testnet to Casper Network. The swappery launched on the Casper Pad platform. The swappery burned 750 swapper tokens. Now, talking about this, right? This was just in March. Now let's actually go to April. So just last month, we've seen some significant updates from, of course, the Casper team. So we go back to the 4th of April, and we do see again Casper Pad introduced the second launchpad Skybridger, followed by, of course, Casper Network upgrade at mainnet. Then we also seen on the 8th, shortly after, Skybridger was audited by RD Auditor. And then on the 11th, we also seen a few things. So Skybridger finished IDO on CasperPad. Skybridger was listed on PancakeSwap and the Swappery. And then, of course, we did see on the 14th, Casper Labs partnered with Metacask, which is a significant NFT project. You guys should go check it out if you guys haven't already. Pretty cool. It's centered around a whiskey, and I think that's going to be a pretty big innovation into the NFT scene very, very soon. I think that is an area uncharted right now in terms of whiskey NFTs and stuff like that. I think that that's going to provide a lot of real world value, which we haven't seen a lot in terms of the NFT space. And then also we did see Casper Pad partnered with Affinines Genesis, I'm hoping that I'm saying that correct, and MBC Group. And then, of course, we also seen Casper Network upgraded the NFT contract standard. And then we also seen the Casper token was listed on Buybox. Now, when we talk about a lot of these listings for Casper, they're not significant. I'm actually waiting for some tier 1 listings around Casper. But if we do continue to see the ecosystem growing like this month to month, then I don't see a problem with that at all. I think that we're going to see some significant listings. Also, we're still awaiting, HBAR to be listed on some exchanges, specifically even Kraken. Like, what's going on, man? Like, when is, HBAR and Casper going to get listed on some of these tier 1 exchanges? Of course, HBAR is listed on some significant ones compared to, Casper, but hey, I'm still awaiting HBAR to be on Coinbase and, some other major exchanges. But also, in terms of HBAR, because I do want to just quickly go over why you should be bullish on these because of their, again, major development and growth lately. We look back a little bit on, in time, going back in the past on, things happening around investments. But shout out to Parabolic HBAR here. So a short thread on why I remain very bullish on HBAR. Let's recap just some of Hedera Network growth from 2021 to 2022. And of course, here's a quote from Jeff Bezos about, again, just kind of the growth of these networks and how long it can take for value to be unlocked. But we do see down here infrastructure growth, smart contracts 2.0, atomic swaps, Worlds Explorer partnered with IntelliWork Alliance, GBAC Council, Texas Blockchain, multiple HTS projects, new HIPs like HIP 410. And then, of course, we did see 3 network decentralization, Hedera open source, now 26 GC members, staking with TVL increasing, various HBAR wallets, more HBAR circulating necessary, increasing mainnet accounts as well, ecosystem acceleration, $250 million metaverse fund, and OVO HQ Basecamp, $10.78 billion HBAR growth fund with HBAR Foundation, innovation program with Swirls Labs, the Hashgraph, and Swiss Assets. And then, of course, 5 strong crypto partnerships: Chainlink, Filecoin, LCX, Hex Trust, and Alliance Block. Advanced POC test, CBDC with MTech, stablecoin transfer with Shinhan Bank, Standard Bank, plugin with Hyperledger, Hyperledger Basu, Quarter Blockchain, Neuron World, done trial with Government of the UK, ESG Markets, Smart Cities, Project Guardian with ENV Blockchain, IoT Smart City with Timeless BV, and then, of course, Carbon Markets with Dovu Official, followed by DeFi rapidly growing NFTs and marketplaces. Course, a ton of them here, staking with Stater Labs, decentralized exchange in progress, meme and NFT creator tokens, social market, Galaxy app, and then, of course, community growth. We've been seeing some massive growth around Hedera. I think that a lot of people are just kind of focused on price, and I don't think that people realize that, hey, you don't get the prices without the growth. I've always said, when we look at, projects that I've invested to in the past, I always kind of go back to Matic, right? Matic is one that I've always addressed because Matic was one of my significant gainers. I don't know where it is. I think it's actually up here, so here it is. So Matic was one of my biggest gainers in 2021. In fact, when we talk about Matic, I had some sick entry points. Honestly, I'm going to tell you guys right now. So I entered around like roughly, 5 cents, but then I had bought heavy around like the 20 to 30 cent range, similar to even the graph. I used a lot of my graph profits to actually fund this investment as well during this time. I know it wasn't major gains, but it was still a pretty significant position I had on the graph. But this allowed me to go from these levels all the way up to almost $2.50. I 10x this at around like this $1.50 to like almost $2 range. I could have held a lot more and got a lot more gains, but hey, this was a pretty significant position that I took, and I again took my entire profit points and then reinvested into some other altcoins. But again, Polygon was one that I seen a lot of growth behind. There was a lot of updates going on. Development updates were getting pushed every single day. Partnerships were growing every single day as well. And again, nobody's seen the value behind it. Everybody was ignoring it because the price was just trading sideways during this time. There wasn't really a lot of, price explosion similar to other assets. But I was like, dude, this thing's gonna blow. And then of course here came May, and May was absolutely insane because we skyrocketed, to over $1 plus, and then we hit like $2.50. It was insane. But I do see the same exact thing happening with Casper and even HBAR. Everybody's ignoring them. They don't really care. It is what it is, right? But let's look at the chart for Casper. So here we are. We're kind of trading in this, downtrend, if you will. Retesting massive support, by the way. Multi-week candles in terms of weekly support at about roughly this 5.5 cent zone. But we look at the fib outreaches here. So the few that I'm really interested in are, some higher figures. So let me refib this real quick just so that you guys can see that I'm not trying to lie to you or anything like that. So here are the fib outreaches. Let me go to the price range. Let me go to off of our current lows here. Now, obviously, I'm not going to my average price that I bought in at because it doesn't really make sense. I'm just trying to show you guys off of our bottom figure here how much ROI you could actually get. So just real quick, to the recent impulse, you can get a 3x, right? Which is pretty cool. Followed by roughly, a 5x to either a 6x opportunity all the way up to a 10x almost opportunity up here at about 63 cents. Now, I think that that's pretty bare minimum. I've actually had my targets at around the $4 to $7 range for good measure. We're going to be talking about that. But ultimately, I see this easily at $1 plus. Now, this would be an 18x at about the 2 fib level, which is $1.14.5. Now, the next fib level here, 2.414. This is actually a pretty significant level, but this would be roughly a 35x opportunity. So roughly almost a 20 to 30x plus, with our $3 range being a 50x opportunity. I've always said $4 to $7 just simply because when we talk about, percentage runs, a lot of these low cap gems, I shouldn't even say low cap. It's like a mid cap gem, but a lot of these assets can run very quickly. In terms of like 10,000% gains, do we see that all the time in crypto? Absolutely not. But it's something that I wouldn't be surprised on if we did see. Recently, we just did pump roughly almost 370%, which was nothing really. But when you kind of compare and contrast it to things like even HBAR, right? So HBAR is one that a lot of people kind of ignore the facts that, this did do a significant run. I mean, even if you go off of the lows of like 2020, right? So we'll just go off of, roughly the December, January timeframe. This did a 2,000% run, and this is in nowhere near done territory. In fact, when we look at this, I've said roughly $3 to $6 on this one, and we're actually going to be talking about that, about why. So here would be roughly $6. This would be a 20,000% increase in price. But even just at like $3 around this range would be a 10,000% gain. That's why I say, like, if we did do a 10,000% gain on Casper, it would be roughly right in between the $4 to $7 range, which I think is probable. I think that could happen. But if I was going to be more conservative and say, all right, well, what's a less risky exit point? It would be between this $1.14 to $2.18, which is still, like I said, a 30 plus X return or an 18x return. So I'm watching this very closely. Same with HBAR, right? So let's actually look at HBAR. From our current position, which by the way, I think that this can kind of come down a little bit lower to possibly 12.5 cents. That's why I have this bottom fib level. This is at the support range from around like the February timeframe, which we can come down and possibly test 11.5 cents. It all depends on where Bitcoin leads us, but we most likely are at our bottoming level I've had this on the chart for a little bit of time. There's a little blue line down here at about like roughly 13 cents. I think that this is most likely our bottom range, but of course I'm going to be watching this closely. To the all-time high right now, this would be about a 3.5x. But if we are talking about some of these significant upside fib levels to $1.51, this would be about a 10x opportunity right here. And then when we talk about like the almost $3 range, so at the 2 fib level, which this is a 20x opportunity, this is at $2.72. This is at like the middle between this and the between the 1618 and also the 2.414. The reason why I go off of a lot of these ranges is because even going off of our recent impulse in 2020, off of the March of 2020 lows, our recent outreaches on the high points here were actually right between the 2 and the 2.414. And if we're talking about that, right, that would bring us right in between the almost $3 to $4 range, which is still a 28x on H-bar, which if you're overlooking a 28x opportunity and saying that 28x is nothing, then hey, I don't know what you're saying. But even if you go off of, buying the top here, you're still looking at a 5x opportunity if you bought the exact top, which I'm sure that a lot of you probably didn't. Say for so your average was like 32 cents. You're still looking at a 10x opportunity here. So I still think that when we talk about H-bar, I think that this is a significant opportunity in time, especially when we look at the potential behind a lot of these networks, specifically even Casper. Casper is one that I'm definitely watching closely because I think that once this does start to run, once we get a lot of the backing point in terms of exchange listings, this thing is going to really open a lot of eyes. So with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on if you guys want more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord down in the description below. As always, up to you all have a beautiful day or a beautiful night wherever you guys are on this beautiful world. This has been Nick. Peace out, guys.